We are on page 58. 22. Explain the error. Two students are playing a math game. The object of the game is to make the least possible number, pay attention to that, by arranging the given digits inside absolute value bars on a card. In the first round, each player will use digits 3, 5, and 7 to fill the card. So a couple of things to review. Remember that these bars right here are absolute value. And the important thing to remember about absolute value is that is a distance from 0. So right now, what is the distance from 0 of negative 75.3? Well, it's 75.3 spaces away. And remember that the object of this game is to make the least possible number. So we want to find a distance closer to 0. So what could I do? Well, question A reads, one student arranges the numbers on the card as shown. What was the student's mistake? Well, I think that what they did, since they put the 7 first, is they made this student, I'm going to type, this student accidentally, well, it's probably not accidentally, probably forgot what absolute value means. Forgot what absolute value means. And made they didn't make the least possible number, they made the greatest possible number by having the 7 first. So question B is a follow-up to this. If putting the 7 first makes the largest possible value, what number do we want to put there? Well, actually, we just want to switch the 7 and the 3. We want the 3 to go here, and we want the 7 to go here. And then I would get a value of 35.7 spaces away from 0. What is the least possible number the card can show? Using the absolute value bars, we'd want it to be negative 35.7. Alright, good. We are done with question number 22. Let's move on. Alright, the hot questions. Number 23, analyze relationships. If you plot the point negative 8 and 85 on a number line, would you place it to the left or to the right of negative 8 and 8/10? Explain. And I think the best way to do this is to have a number line. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this first line right here as a number line. And I'm not going to put 0 in the middle because then I'd have to work my way out to negative 8 something. I wouldn't have a lot of room. I'm just going to have 0 be over here off to the right. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put negative 8.8 right in the middle. And so here's my question. What would be to the right of that? What would be to the left of that? Well, remember that when we're working to the, and this is a real zoomed in number line, when we're working to the left, we're getting more negative, and we're working back to the right, we're getting positive. So since we're in the negatives here, if I work back to the right, the numbers would shrink. So let's do a tenths number line. What would this one be? Negative 8.7. What would this one be? Negative 8.6. What if I was going back to the left? I'm going to move this one just a little bit. What would be right here? Negative 8.9. What's after that? It's going to be negative 9.0. Now, I'm going to ask you to look at that number line and see if it makes sense to you, and I think it probably should. If I start here, negative 8.6, negative 8.7, negative 8.8, negative 8.9. So I've graphed this one right here. The question's asking, if I plot this one right here, I'll change colors to draw attention to it. If I plot this one right here, would it be to the left or to the right? A lot of people want to say it's going to be to the right, but think about it. Where would negative 8.85 go? Well, right now it's kind of tricky because I don't have my number lines in tenths, but I could make it in hundredths. Watch what I can do here. I can make this negative 8.60, 8.70, 8.80, 8.90, 9.00. Now it should make a lot of sense where it goes. Go back to where I started, negative 8.80. Negative 8.85 is going to be a little bit to the left. It's going to be right here in the middle. It's going to be right between negative 8.80 and negative 8.90. Negative 8.85. Let's go back to the question. Would it be to the right or to the left? It's going to be to the left. So I don't have tons of room for my answer. I'll just squeeze it in over here to the right. is going to be the left. It says explain. We always want to explain when we get a chance. Left because negative 8.85 is less, and less goes to the left, than negative 8.8. Alright, if that was tricky to you, I hope you take a little bit of notes on your book and maybe rewatch this portion of the video just to make sure you understand it. Alright, let's move on to number 24. I think we have enough room here. Number 24, make a conjecture. If the absolute value of a negative number is 2 and 78/100ths, what is the distance on the number line between the number and its absolute value? Explain your answer. So there's a lot to this question, but I think I can help you understand it. If the absolute value, see what I did here? I took the word absolute value and I put the signs, and it says is 2.78. So the answer is 2.78. Now, what has to go inside the bars here? Well, there's two options. It can either be positive 2.78 or it can be negative 2.78. And in this case, it has to be negative 2.78. So I'm going to go back and put this in here and ask myself if it makes sense. What is the absolute value of negative 2.78? Well, it is positive 2.78 because the absolute value means the distance from 0. How far away from 0 is this guy? Well, it's 2.78 spaces away from 0. So now I'm going to go back and reread the question. What is the distance on the number line between the number, between this guy right here, that's the number, and its absolute value? In other words, what's the distance to get from here to there? Well, we could use a number line and ask ourselves this, and what you're going to do here is you're going to see that this is a pretty simple addition problem. Let's check this out. This is a good one to put 0 right in the middle. And over here, just kind of randomly, I'm going to put negative 2.78. And over here to the right, I'm going to put positive 2.78. And what is the distance from here to 0? Well, from here to 0 is 2.78 spaces. And from 0 to here, it's 2.78 spaces. So I think you could see right now that this is either a 2.78 times 2 or a 2.78 plus 2.78 problem. So that's what I'm going to do. 2.78 plus 2.78. And really I should be saying 2 and 78/100ths. That's okay. Start in your hundredths place. 8 plus 8 is 16. 7 plus 7 is 14. Plus 1 is 15. 2 plus 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 5 and 56/100ths. Go back to this part right here where it says explain your answer. I think my picture and my showing my work is good enough. So what I'm going to do here is put my answer right here, 5 and 56/100ths, and I'm going to put a box around it to draw attention to it. And my number line and my showing work and my addition problem off to the right, I think is just going to be a good enough explanation. Okay, we are done with page 20. I'm sorry, this is page 58, and we are going to skip numbers 25 and 26. So you are done with this page. Good job. You may move on to the next lesson.